kásán àpèṣẹ látàárọ̀ ìròyìn ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. Gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ yìí sẹ́nẹ́tọ̀ Adémọ́lá Adélékè ti sọ pé ìjọba tóun darí kò ní tẹ̀sí láti rí dájú pé ètò ọrọ̀ ajé ìpínlẹ̀ yìí dúró re káyèsí gbẹdẹmukẹ fún tẹlórí tẹlẹ́mù. Ó sọ̀rọ̀ yìí níbi ayẹyẹ ṣíṣí ilé ẹ̀kọ́ Cooperative College Ọdẹ Òmu àti ọ̀nà tí ìjọba ṣe láti Ọ̀tàyégbájú sírẹ̀sì ní ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ Bolúwadúró nípìnlẹ̀ yìí. Ètò jara ọdún kejì ìjọba gómìnà Adélékè onú iléeṣẹ́ yìí lọ́fíìsì gómìnà Olúwatóbilọ́ba Ọdúnúgà lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ ìròyìn ìyókù àbọ̀ rẹ̀ rèé látẹnu Àbọ̀sẹ̀dé Àlọ́gẹ́.
Tíjọ́ tayọ̀ làwọn èèyàn ìlú Ọ̀tàyégbájú àti Ìrẹsì níjọba ìbílẹ̀ Bolúwadúró tú yáyá jáde pàdé gómìnà Adémọ́lá Adélékè níbi tó ti ṣí ọ̀nà oní kìlómítà 7.5 èyí tó ti dàpatì bí ejò àìjẹ fódìdí ọdún 44. Ṣáájú ni gómìnà ti kọ́kọ́ ṣí ilé ẹ̀kọ́ ìmọ̀ nípa alájẹṣẹ́kù tó wà lọ́dẹ Òmu lẹ́kùn ìdìbò àpapọ̀ ìwọ̀ oòrùn Ọ̀ṣun tó ti fódìdí ọdún 12 di àpatì. Bákan náà ni gómìnà wà nílùú Iléṣà níbi tó ti tẹ́wọ́ gba àwọn ìkan ẹgbẹ́ awakọ̀ èrò NURTW tólóyè Lékan Sàlámì ṣáájú wọn láti darapọ̀ mẹ́gbẹ́ òṣèlú People's Democratic Party PDP níbi ètò ṣíṣí ilé ẹ̀kọ́ alájẹṣẹ́kù nílùú Ọdẹ Òmu ni gómìnà Adélékè tún ti tẹnumọ́ bọ́rọ̀ ìpèsè àwọn iṣẹ́ ìdàgbàsókè faraàlú ṣe jẹ́ ìjọba tó ń darí lógún níbi ètò tó ti gba àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú míì wọnú agbo ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú alábùradà. Gómìnà ní ìṣàkóso òun kò fọwọ́ yọ̀bọ̀kẹ́ mọ́rọ̀ pínpín èrè jẹ ìjọba àwarawa dọ́gba jákèjádò ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. Gómìnà Adélékè tọ́pọ̀ lára àwọn tó dipò òṣèlú mú àtàwọn ìkan nínú ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú PDP nínú èyí tá a ti rí Yèyélúà Modúpẹ́ọlá Adélékè Sanni àtọ̀nàrẹ́bù Sunday Bísí Bákọ̀wọ́rìn ṣàlàyé pé àrọ̀wá ìwẹ̀yìn níjọba tóun darí yóò fọ̀rọ̀ ìdàgbàsókè tìbútòrò ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ṣe láì náání báwọn ẹ̀dá kan ṣe ń gbé kéyìdè láti farun iwájú pọ̀ mọ́ tìpàkọ́ láàrin àwọn aráàlú. Nígbà tó ń bá àwọn èèyàn tó kórajọ nílùú Ọ̀tàyégbájú sọ̀rọ̀, gómìnà Adélékè ṣàlàyé pé ọ̀nà oní kìlómítà 7.5 náà tíjọba ṣe kìlómítà 3 sínú ìlú Ìrẹsì tí kìlómítà 4.5 sì jẹ́ ọ̀nà tó wá láti Ọ̀tàyégbájú já sí Ìrẹsì ló wà níbàámu pẹ̀lú àmúṣe ìlérí tó ń ṣe láti máa ṣe àwọn àkànṣe iṣẹ́ ojú ọ̀nà tí yóò so àwọn ìlú pọ̀ mọ́ra. Ilé ẹ̀kọ́ ìmọ̀ nípa alájẹṣẹ́kù tí gómìnà ṣí lọ́dẹ Òmu yìí ni wọ́n pè ní Isiaka Adétúnjì Adélékè Cooperative College. Àbọ̀sẹ̀dé Àlọ́gẹ́ fún iléeṣẹ́ Osbc.
Àgbéyẹ̀wò àbá ètò ìṣúná ti ilé aṣòfin ìpínlẹ̀ yìí làwọn aṣòfin fi káàdì àgbéyẹ̀wò àbá ètò ìṣúná àwọn ilé-iṣẹ́ àti lájọ nílẹ̀. Oyún ilé-iṣẹ́ yìí nílé aṣòfin Olúwatósìn Ọládòkun múròyìn bọ̀ lórí àgbéyẹ̀wò àbá ètò ìṣúná ti ìpínlẹ̀ yìí fún tọdún tó ń bọ̀ ìjàgbọ̀n tó ń bọ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ tó jinlẹ̀ lórí àbá ètò ìṣúná òun náà ni ilé aṣòfin ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun fi káàdì àgbéyẹ̀wò àbá ètò ìṣúná ti ìpínlẹ̀ yìí fún tọdún 2025 nílẹ̀ nígbà tó ń ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ ọ̀kan òjọ̀kan tí èròǹgbà àmúṣe àbá ìṣúná ọ̀hún yóò fi jọ. Kọmíṣánná fún àgbékalẹ̀ ètò ọrọ̀ ajé ètò ìṣúná àti ìdàgbàsókè ọrọ̀ ajé ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Moruf Adélékè sọ wípé ṣáájú àgbékalẹ̀ àbá ètò ìṣúná ìpínlẹ̀ yìí tọdún 2025 síwájú ilé ní iléeṣẹ́ tó ń darí ti ṣe àlàkalẹ̀ ọlọ́kan òjọ̀kan lórí ètò ìṣúná. Gẹ́gẹ́ bó ṣe sọ, onílọ́nà àti rí dájú pé ètò ìṣúná ọdún 2025 ti ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun rẹ́sẹ̀ walẹ̀ tí gbogbo àfojúsùn ọ̀hún sì jọ òun ló mú kí àwọn iléeṣẹ́ àti lájọ ìjọba kọ́kọ́ ṣe ìpàdé pẹ̀lú iléeṣẹ́ tó ń darí níbi tí wọ́n ti jíròrò lórí ọ̀nà tí wọn yóò gbà tí ètò ìṣúná náà yóò fi ṣèso rẹ̀. Ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Adélékè kan jẹ́ abẹnukò pé ó ṣe pàtàkì láti ṣàmúlò ìlànà ìpawówọlé lábẹ́lé lọ́nà àti rí dájú pé ètò ìṣúná ọdún tó ń bọ̀ nípìnlẹ̀ yìí dòun tó sì ṣèso rẹ̀ àti wípé ọ̀kan òjọ̀kan ìpàdé òun ló ti wáyé láti rí dájú pé gbogbo àgbékalẹ̀ yìí ló jọ kí àfojúsùn tó lóòrìn ó sì bá ìṣúná ìpínlẹ̀ yìí fọdún tó ń bọ̀. Ṣáájú nínú ọ̀rọ̀ alága ìgbìmọ̀ tẹ̀kótó ilé fètò ìṣúná àti owó ará ìlú Ọ̀nàrẹ́bù Olúmídé ṣàlàyé pé ètò ìṣúná ọdún 2025 ti ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ó ní àfojúsùn rẹ̀ yóò jọ pẹ̀lú bó ṣe sọ pé gómìnà Adémọ́lá Adélékè ṣàgbékalẹ̀ ètò ìṣúná tí yóò ṣe ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun láǹfààní nídìí ìpèsè ohun amáyédẹrùn, ètò ẹ̀kọ́, ètò ìlera, iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àti àmúṣe owó oṣù tuntun fáwọn òṣìṣẹ́ ọba. Ó tẹnumọ́ ìgbáradì ilé aṣòfin ìpínlẹ̀ yìí láti rí dájú pé wọ́n tọpinpin wọ́n sì ṣe àmójútó ètò ìṣúná náà nígbà tó ń ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ ètò ìṣúná ilé aṣòfin ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun síwájú ilé olórí ọmọ ilé tó pọ̀ jùlọ ọ̀nàrẹ́bù babájídé kòfòrọ̀lá ẹni tí akọ̀wé ilé aṣòfin ọ̀gbẹ́ni akínwálé amúṣàndìjọ gbé ètò ìṣúná náà kalẹ̀ tí wọ́n sì ṣe àgbéyẹ̀wò rẹ̀. wọ́n dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gómìnà adémọlá adélèké fún bó ṣe mú ọ̀rọ̀ ìdẹ̀rùn àwọn aṣòfin lọ́kùnkúndùn. bákan náà ni àjọ tó wà fọ́rọ̀ ilé aṣòfin ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀ṣun lábẹ́ alága ìgbìmọ̀ náà ọ̀nàrẹ́bù adékúnlé oyèkúnlé ṣàgbékalẹ̀ ètò ìṣúná tiwọn. lára àwọn iléeṣẹ́ tó tún farahàn níwájú ilé ni iléeṣẹ́ tó wà fẹ́tò ìṣúná, àjọ tó ń rí sọ̀rọ̀ ìpawọlé lábẹ́lé nípínlẹ̀ ọ̀ṣun, ọ́fíìsì tó ń rí sí ọ̀rọ̀ gbèsè tí ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀ṣun tó jẹ, ọ́fíìsì olùṣirò owó àgbà èyí tí ó ń rí sí dúkìá ìjọba, àjọ tó wà fọ́rọ̀ ibùdó afẹ́, àjọ tó wà fọ́rọ̀ ilé aṣòfin ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀ṣun, àjọ tó wà fún àkọọ́lẹ̀ tó ṣe kókó, iléeṣẹ́ tó wà fún àgbékalẹ̀ ètò ọrọ̀ ajé, ètò ìṣúná àti ìdàgbàsókè rẹ̀, tí wọ́n sì ṣe é lálàyé ètò ìṣúná iléeṣẹ́ wọn níkọ̀ọ̀kan èjèèjì. níbi ìjókòó ilé ọ̀hún láti rí igbákejì abẹnugan ilé ọ̀nàrẹ́bù akínyẹ̀dé oyèwùsẹ̀ àti ọ̀nàrẹ́bù síkírù bájípàdé babájídé kòfòrọ̀lá, fọlọ́runṣọ́ ògúndàrí bámidélé làwà, abíọ́lá awóyè tajudeen adéyẹmí, taofeek ọláyíwọlá àti wálé akérèlé, tí gbogbo wọn sì sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ètò ìṣúná tí wọ́n gbé wá síwájú ilé. olúwarántí. ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n wàsíù oyèdùnró kí wọ́n máa rántí pé àwọn ní díngí táwọn èèyàn ń wò gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwòkọ́ṣe níbi àkànṣe ìfàmìyẹ dáwọn ọ̀tọ̀kù lọ́lá tí ẹgbẹ́ àwọn oníròyìn nípínlẹ̀ yìí gbé kalẹ̀ tó wáyé lọ́ṣogbo ló ti sọ̀rọ̀ náà. ààbọ̀ ròyìn àǹjọ́lá agboola rèé ẹ̀jẹ̀ àgbọ̀. àwọn èèkàn láti tòsí àtọ̀nà jíjìn ni wọ́n péjú síbi àkànṣe ìfàmìyẹ dánilọ́lá tẹ́gbẹ́ àwọn oníròyìn nípínlẹ̀ ọ̀ṣun gbé kalẹ̀. lára àwọn tó wà ń kalẹ̀ láti rí ìrìdásílẹ̀ iléeṣẹ́ rédíò rave ọ̀mọ̀wé fẹ́mi adéfilá, orí adé ọjọ́ náà alágbèdá àti àgbédá ìjẹ̀ṣà ọba adésọjí adéníyè, akọ̀wé àgbà títúnṣe òdarí àgbà iléeṣẹ́ osbc arábìnrin jọlá adé ìgbàrún látàwọn míì. nínú ọ̀rọ̀ ọba adésọjí adéníyè, ó ṣàpèjúwe ètò ọ̀hún bí àṣeyọrí ńlá tó sì rọ àwọn èèyàn láti túbọ̀ máa ṣojúṣe wọn gẹ́gẹ́ bí oníròyìn nítorí àwọn ni wọ́n máa ń yanjú ìṣòro nípa ìròyìn tí wọ́n ń gbé síta. nínú ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ rẹ̀ jọ̀gbọ́n wàsíù oyèdòkun tó pe àwòrán rẹ̀ ní ètò ọrọ̀ ajé orílẹ̀-èdè yìí, àìsí ààbò tó péye, ìjọba àwarawa àtúnà àbáyọ sókun òjọ̀kan ìpèníjà, rọ àwọn ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí láti máa ṣiṣẹ́ taratọkàn nínú gbogbo ìdáwọ́lé wọn nítorí èyí lọ́nà kan gbòógì tó kún fi lè dé bá ìpèníjà tó ń kojú ètò ààbò. ó rọ àwọn òbí láti máa sín àwọn ọmọ wọn nígbẹ́rẹ́ pàkọ́ pé kí wọ́n yé lọ́wọ́ nínú ìwà láabi. ó ní iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ jẹ́ eléyìí tí ó gbọ́dọ̀ máa ṣe kóríyá fún lẹ́kùn ìwọ̀ oòrùn ilẹ̀ yìí. bákan náà ló pè fún ìpèsè iṣẹ́ fún àwọn ọ̀dọ́ tí kò níṣẹ́ lọ́wọ́ jákèjádò orílẹ̀-èdè yìí. ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n oyèdòkun mẹ́nuba pàtàkì ìjọba àwa ara wa àti ìjọba tó gbóúnjẹ fẹ́rẹ́ gbà wò bọ̀. ó ní kò sẹ́ni tó ga ju òfin lọ àti pé oníkálukú ló ní ẹ̀tọ́ lábẹ́ òfin láti lè dìbò fẹ́ni tó bá wù wọ́n.
ìmọ̀ràn mi fún àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ oníròyìn ni pé yorùbá ní ìdíṣẹ́ láti mọ ilọ́lẹ̀ kí kálukú ṣiṣẹ́ rẹ̀ bó ṣe kó ṣe é nítorí kódà kó má jẹ́ pé ẹni tí ẹ ń lówó ọlọ́run mọ bó ṣe máa ń pèrè fún kálukú. àwọn tó ń ṣe lánàá rí wọn lónìí àwọn dùn wò ọmọ wọn náà ṣoríire kí kálukú ṣe nǹkan ìgbìyànjú láti rí pé àwùjọ wa lọ síwájú.
nínú ọ̀rọ̀ alága ọjọ́ náà ọ̀mọ̀wé fẹ́mi adéfilá, ó ní àwọn oníròyìn àwọn ni wọ́n jẹ́ eléyìí tí àwùjọ fi ń ṣe àwòkọ́ṣe tí wọ́n sì jẹ́ agbẹnusọ fún àwùjọ. ó wá rọ̀ wọ́n láti máa kópa tó jọjú nínú iṣẹ́ tí kò wáyé láàyò. ó ní àwọn tí wọ́n fi àmì ẹ̀yẹ hall of fame ti ẹgbẹ́ oníròyìn nípínlẹ̀ ọ̀ṣun dá lọ́lá ọ̀hún ni wọ́n tọ́ tí wọ́n sì yẹ. lára àwọn èèyàn kànrìnkànrìn tí wọ́n dá lọ́lá ọ̀hún láti rí kọmíṣánná fẹ́tọ̀ ìròyìn àti ìtanijí nípínlẹ̀ ọ̀ṣun olú ọmọkọ́lápọ̀ alimi, lórí àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ ọba nípínlẹ̀ yìí alàgbà samuel aina, ọlọ́rọ̀ rúwọ̀ tí ọ̀rọ̀ rúwọ̀ ọba kamorudeen adéyanjú, òdarí àgbà ọ̀ṣun csda arábìnrin fúnmi abókèdé, akọ̀wé àgbà iléeṣẹ́ tó wà fọ́rọ̀ ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ àti ìjíjẹ ọ̀gbẹ́ni olúfẹ́mi ògúndùn, olóyè olúrẹ̀mí oyèyẹmí náà wà lára àwọn ìkàn náà. níbi ètò ọ̀hún ni wọ́n ti ṣe àfihàn bí wọ́n ṣe sọ orúkọ àwọn èèyàn di mánigbàgbé tí wọ́n fi gbé gbogbo àmì ẹ̀yẹ ọ̀hún sí ara pátákó eléyìí tí alága ẹgbẹ́ oníròyìn nípínlẹ̀ ọ̀ṣun comrade wàsíù àjàdóṣù ṣíṣọ lójú rẹ̀. Olúwarántí Òjèwùmí fún iṣẹ́ sọ. Àkànṣe ètò ọlọ́sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀ iléeṣẹ́ yìí ìmọ́lẹ̀ ayọ̀ èyí tó ń tàn mọ́lẹ̀ sáwọn àṣeyọrí àtàwọn iṣẹ́ tí gómìnà Adémọ́lá Adélékè ṣe yóò wà nírọ̀lẹ́ ọ̀la. Olùrànlọ́wọ́ pàtàkì fún gómìnà Fájọ tó wà fún ìrìn àjò àwọn kìrìsìtẹ́nì sí ilẹ̀ mímọ́ nípìnlẹ̀ yìí ọ̀gbẹ́ni Akínbámi Babalọ́lá lálejò lórí ètò náà. Àwọn olùgbọ́ àti àwọn olùwòran yóò láǹfààní láti kópa lórí ètò ọ̀hún ọgbà bó bá ṣe ń lọ lórí àwọn ìkànnì iléeṣẹ́ yìí ní déédéé aago 6:30 ìrọ̀lẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́ ojúlọ́nà. Kò jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ lórí ìròyìn ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní aago 5:15 nígbà tá a máa mú ìròyìn wá fún yín ẹ̀kọ́ ojúlọ́nà.
babalájà yàlájẹ oníṣòwò kéékèèké pẹ̀lú oníṣòwò ńláńlá ẹjọ́ TV channel o lè jọjà yìí tàyẹ sọ fún wọn. Osbc lókè balẹ̀ yìí channel 32 UHF náà lè sọ. channel 32 UHF ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà wá síbẹ̀ wọn. Osbc channel 32 kí ló ń ṣe níbẹ̀ gan òjijì tún lè ṣàdùnrẹ́ ṣe ọmọ. Wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ àsìkò ní àjọyọ̀ àjò tó kọ́ ní lọ́gbọ́n lọ́lọ́kan òjò kan àwọn orin àsìkò tó tún bá gbà mú gidi. Ẹ ṣe publicity fún business tí a jáwó. Ìwọ lọ rí wọn tún lè ṣàdó bàbá ọgbọ́n. Ṣòkòrò kí lókè balẹ̀ náà wà ó. Ṣòkòrò kí lókè balẹ̀ náà wà ó.
Hello viewers, welcome to your darling station Osbc. Come enjoy a rich menu of programs. On Osbc TV, there is something you must watch. We have drama.
Honey, is it not eating?
I just heard strange words and incantations, like ritual songs, coming from his room.
Honey, it's okay. Let me go and talk to him.
Sports.
It is Mel! Yes. Oh, yes! What a brilliant free kick.
Good musicals. Educational television. Kiddies and cartoons. News on the go.
For prioritizing agriculture as a means of diversifying the economy.
Join us on StarTimes channel 113 Free TV 502, and follow us online at osbcng.org. Meet us on our social media platforms. OSBC Television, we keep you updated.
Lagos, to Thomas Babington Macaulay and Abigail Crowder, the second daughter of Bishop Samuel Ajayi Crowder, as the fifth of 7 children. Macaulay was born 6 days after Republican President Abraham Lincoln defeated Democrat General George B. McClellan in the United States presidential election to serve a second term in the White House. It was also the same year his maternal grandfather, Samuel Ajayi Crowder, became the first African bishop of the Church of England, popularly known as the Anglican Church. Macaulay's paternal grandfather, Ojo Oriari, a native doctor, was from Oyo and a descendant of Alafin Abiodun. He and his wife, Kilangbe, were enslaved but freed by a British anti-slavery squadron and taken to Freetown, Sierra Leone, where they settled for a while before returning to Abeokuta, where they gave birth to Herbert Macaulay's father, Thomas Babington Macaulay. Herbert Macaulay's father, Reverend Thomas Babington Macaulay, founded and became the first principal of the Church Missionary Society CMS Grammar School in Lagos, Nigeria's first and oldest secondary school, on June 6, 1859. Until he was 5, Macaulay was taught at home by his mother, Abigail. In 1869, he enrolled at St. Paul's School, Breadfruit and Christ Church School, Itafaji, for his primary education. In 1877, at the age of 13, he gained admission into the CMS Grammar School, which was then at the end of Broad Street in Lagos, where his father was the principal. 2 months later, on January 17, 1878, his father died of smallpox. Herbert Macaulay left the school in 1880, and according to his school record, he was astounding in English, logic, mathematics, and Latin. In September 1881, at only 16, he was appointed a clerical assistant and indexer of Crown land grants in the Colonial Public Works Department in Lagos. Within 3 years of his appointment, he was promoted as a draughtsman and clerk of Crown land grants. Macaulay was then awarded a colonial government scholarship in 1890 for further studies in England in civil engineering and surveying, a first of its kind in those days, which exposed him to the genteel British way of life and liberal democracy. From 1890 to 1893, Herbert Macaulay was in Plymouth, England, studying not only civil engineering but architecture and surveying, including railway surveying. On December 5, 1893, Macaulay became the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer and was admitted as a member of the British Institute of Civil Engineers, member of the Royal Institute of British Architects, as well as a fellow of the Royal Geographical Society. However, when his lecturer at Plymouth, Mr. G.D. Bellamy, recommended Macaulay for further training in civil engineering, the colonial government in Lagos denied him that opportunity. On his return to Lagos, the government made him a surveyor of Crown land in Lagos. However, he soon became dissatisfied with the conditions of his employment, as he was put on the salary scale of 90 to 150 pounds per annum, while a British civil servant junior to him in the same department earned 250 pounds per annum. Thus, in 1898, after only 5 years in government service, Macaulay decided to go into private practice as a licensed surveyor, architect, and civil engineer. He never worked for the government again. He was only 34 years old. On his own, Macaulay struggled in the early days to find success, as the colonial authority made sure he did not get any government jobs, and only a handful of Africans were rich enough to engage and pay him for his professional services. Although he designed very few important buildings in Lagos, like Alex Taylor's house on Victoria Street, Henry Carr's house on Tinubu Street, Akinola Maja's house, and the Doherty Villa in Campo Square, Macaulay was constantly in financial distress. He was also an executor of the estate of a family dependent, from which he was accused by the colonial government of misappropriated funds when he was found guilty of improperly taking a sum of £350 from the estate of one Mary Franklin, a freed slave who had named him as an executor of her will in 1912. Macaulay argued that he used the money to put off debts owed by Mary's estate, but his claims were dismissed and he was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment in July 1913. While many sympathized with him because of the extenuating circumstances of his large extended family, these events meant that he could never become a candidate for public office for life. Barred from elective public office, Macaulay made his mark in politics through journalism, political organizations, and various advisory capacities. Between 1910 and 1927, he was a frequent contributor to the Nigerian Chronicle. In 1927, Macaulay joined forces with his friend Dr. John Akinlode Colcrick, a physician and politician, to buy the Lagos Daily News, the first daily newspaper in British West Africa, founded in 1925. Macaulay decided on the political tone of the paper. This provided him a platform for his battles against the government and his African political opponents. Herbert Macaulay would also go to prison again in 1928, at a time when he had become a serious opponent of the colonial government. Macaulay was responsible for the reports and editorial views of the Lagos Daily News, a medium which he used to fight his political battles. He soon got into trouble with the British when the paper reported a story that the car which was to bring the King of Lagos back from exile in Oyo would be blown up by his opponents. It was a rumor, and the colonial government felt that the publication was an incitement to fuel existing tension within the colony. Macaulay served 6 months in prison without any option of fine. After his release from prison, Macaulay took a somewhat more cautious line, but his writing remained highly critical. He continued to publish his newspaper until 1938. Herbert Macaulay's popularity as a political leader led to the forming of the Nigerian National Democratic Party, NNDP, in 1923, the first well-organized political party in Nigeria and British West Africa. Its motto was, "The safety of the people is the greatest law." Its candidates won all the elective seats in the Nigerian legislature between 1923 and 1938. For fear that the government turned against him, Macaulay refused to hold any party office until the 1930s. But in Lagos, there was no doubt he was the driving force and real power behind the scenes. He maintained close ties with the first executive councils and was almost always present at NNDP public meetings. Furthermore, he had extensive links with the masses of Lagos through their traditional popular associations, particularly the Market Women's Union and many vocational unions. He encouraged market women and elite women to take part in party activities, including speaking at his meetings. With his control of the party, Macaulay was able to some extent exert some influence on some issues that came before the Legislative Council, such as the poll tax, the building of a new cemetery for Africans at Aton Ota, present-day Ogun State, and the Lagos Railway construction. When the colonial government decided to control market prices during World War II, Macaulay supported the opposition of the market women to the idea, arguing that government could not seek to control what it did not supply. Ironically, Macaulay encouraged Lagosians to contribute and support.
Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the newsroom. You can't afford to miss it.
Major challenges that a particular place can counter, that can take them to the level they don't want, is insecurity challenge. And when you look at it, Nigeria has been battling with a series of security challenges for many years. About 15 years ago, it came in another form, which has made Nigeria to be one of the degrading countries in the world, to the extent that the image is not palatable enough for us, the way we had it during the time of our nationalists, that is those who fought for the independence of the country. What are the things, circumstances surrounding the insecurity, level of insecurity to this escalating level? You know, I know, and what you know may not be what I know, but the solution should be a common one. Then we should fight a common a common fight, so that this thing can come to what? Can reduce or can come to the end. And what can we do? It is all stakeholders that have these challenges. That is why we have numbers of governors. Sometimes even when Akeredolu, the former governor of Oyo State, was alive, he was shouting. Even President now was shouting when he was a governor, and many people were shouting. Even we learned that the governors this time around, they have gathered, even there are more than 16 governors who have gathered, and they have lobbied that they want state police to be installed. And then what are the important, or the meaning of the state police is whereby each state will have their own police and will be controlling, that is, the governor will be controlling these police and fund them. Then, so that one of their motives is that when the state is controlling the police in each state, in each locality, we know the nooks and crannies of that, not comparing to the national one we are having, whereby you can have somebody from the north, trained in the north, even trained in the north, coming to this place, he doesn't know the nooks and crannies of a society. This is one of the, but some people are challenging that it can turn to what? Weapon to fight any rival by the state governor. Then what are we doing? That is why we bring it into limelight through in the newsroom. What we are discussing today is the yearning for state police, particularly by governors and some stakeholders in Nigeria. As we usually have, his partner is not around, that is the second chairman, but the incumbent chairman of Osbc conglomerate is much around, and as we usually say, that is part of the in the newsroom, and we pray that God continue to let him work stronger and stronger. Latif Agola, how are you, sir?
It's my pleasure being here. Thank you, Jalil. We are here again. Newsroom is our place. We are happy to be here.
Thank you very much. Okay, yes, in the news we have it that the issue of agitation for state police is still crop up, whereby not only common men or activists are fighting for this one, but the governors are fighting for it. Some people will say that, possibly they want to use it for their selfish interest, but either selfish interest or whatever, can it pay us?
You see, there is a clear difference between what is good, what is ideal, and what we want. You see, something might be good at a certain point in time, and may not be ideal for the purpose of a particular situation. Then it may be good, it may be ideal, but it may not be in tandem with the political will of those who are there. My dear brother, don't let us deceive ourselves. Nigeria is not about state police alone. When we are talking, we always clamor for restructuring, that Nigeria needs the real federalism. If you go back to our history, we had what looked like a true federalism through the regionalism then, in the early years of Nigerian independence. When we have the western region, we have the eastern region, we have the northern region, later the midwestern region. What I'm trying to say is that then we have the federal system. But in those days, all these regional governments are a kind of semi-autonomous government